and his hatred and the fact that now he is Hell's assassin. Well, I buy him getting 160 pounds of body weight. By the way, let's not forget, at the beginning of part 2, he has one of the greatest senses of humor in horror history, because he goes into Alice's house, he takes his mom's head, puts it in a refrigerator, and then hides. He hides. And he waits. He waits for her to open the fridge. I'm not going to do it until she sees the head. That's the best part. This is going to be hilarious. So he's like the Johnny Knoxville of horror.
Yeah.
Right? But by the way, if all you do is resurrect him with the Necronomicon, if that's all you do, you fix the entire series problems. All of the continuity, all of those problems disappear instantaneously. And suddenly you go, oh, all these movies are possible now. Great. By the way, I never understand. There are a lot of people who get pissed at me when I go like, well, the Necronomicon and the dagger are there for a reason. Like I brought the Evil Dead lore that's why I went and talked to Sam and asked him for the fucking Necronomicon. And so when people get pissed at me about that, he's not a Deadite. I'm like, wait, why are you upset about the Evil Dead and Friday the 13th being in the same world? Like everybody wanted Jason versus Freddy versus Ash. Everybody wanted that. That comic book was insane. The studio was working on a deal to make that happen. Who the hell doesn't want to watch Bruce Campbell go up against those two guys? I'm sorry, that's the best wrestling movie ever made. So when people get upset about that, I'm always scratching my head like, what are you protecting? I don't get it. I'm trying to make this work. Look, Jason Goes to Hell is the Rogue One of the Friday the 13th franchise.
Love it.
Yeah, that's a great line. Yeah, that's a great. And so, you were saying about undoing the fan or the angry dude bros, their arguments and kind of having. I mean, if you were to list the films in order and say that somebody had planned that order and this was going to happen in this one and this was, you would have to be insane to believe that there was a grand plan, but people get very upset in the Marvel universe when a little thing changes here or there or an actor changes. But for fans of horror, we accept anything. Like as long as it's a good movie, as long as we're entertained, as long as it's and sometimes, like you say, the boldest swings are the ones we accept the most. It's frustrating if somebody's like, well, you can't do that. Well, hang on, let's just spread all these movies out on the table and see, could you really accept that this was like some grand plan? Because there often isn't a plan after the first movie.
There was no plan. There was no plan.
We've made money. Oh, great.
I mean, look, Tom McLaughlin and I have been friends for many years, and I adore him. He's an amazing dude. When we've talked about this, he's like, Adam, they just said, come up with a way to make this thing keep going. They didn't tell me what to do. They just said, come up with something. And he's like, and I love Frankenstein. I love like the old Universal horror movies. So it's like, okay, I'll give you a lot of gore and stuff, but really what I want to do is I want to resurrect Jason like Frankenstein's monster. Yeah. And that's what he did. So, I mean, and then it was loose and coming after everybody. And he made his hero, Tommy, kind of a dumbass. And this was the fun for him. He's like, suddenly I got Abbott and Costello going after Jason. I was like, that's fucking brilliant, man. Yeah. So there was no plan. You're 100% right. And when people would look, when they got to part 7, they're like, I don't know, how about he fights Carrie? Who thought that was going to be a thing? Oh, sure, the telekinetic girl is going after Jason. I mean, that is truly something that can only happen when you are throwing shit at a wall and hoping something sticks.
Yeah.
And Jason Goes to Hell was on purpose to fix the problem.
Is that something that maybe people have a misconception about? They think that you had so much intervention that it didn't allow you to make the movie you wanted to make, but in fact, it was the exact opposite. It was like,
exact opposite.
How do you fix this?
Look, by the way, you have to remember, Sean Cunningham made part 1 and then part 9. He made none of the intervening movies. So I went to the guy who created the whole thing.
Mhm.
Like you're talking about, like, okay, so the guy that the beloved creator of part 1 makes part 9 and people are pissed at me. You got the wrong guy, guys. If you're pissed, be pissed at Sean. Sean's the one who wanted the fucking hockey mask out of the movie, not me. I was a hardcore fan, right?
Yeah.
But the minute he said get the hockey mask out of the movie, I was like, okay, what does that movie look like? And immediately I started going, all right, well, we got to have something more magical now, because now I gotta do something that keeps this character alive. By the way, he was already magical. By part 4, he's magic. He's no longer human. He's not a zombie. It's all bullshit. He's a magical creature.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And by the way, to what you said earlier, Jed, you know, the reason why the Nightmare films could take such swings is you're in the dream world. You can do anything you want. Like, those movies that was a wet dream for a director to get one of those movies. You're like, oh, bro, I can be a real filmmaker. And the thing about the Friday movies is you're stuck in this very narrow space.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the directors that were created by the Nightmare franchise, they all went on to these huge kind of weird careers with all kinds of different films. The Friday guys, we were all relegated to just making horror movies. It's why I bucked against it. It's why immediately I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing Pumpkinhead 2. I'm not doing, Amityville 97 and Leprechaun Back to the Hood. I'm not doing that. I'm going to make other movies. Like, I want to have a real career. And that, by the way, that includes horror films that are original. I just didn't want to be the guy with a part number after everything. And when you look at, Rennie Harlan and Stephen Hopkins and Chuck Russell, these guys come out of the Nightmare franchise smelling like roses because they could do anything. Mm-hmm. They also had a studio behind them that believed in them. New Line, when I worked for New Line, it was a dream house. Like, you were treated with so much love. When they were doing pre-interviews for Jason Goes to Hell for like Cinefantastique and Fangoria and stuff, my executive, Mike DeLuca, called me the next James Cameron. Wow. That was the kind of support you got. You felt like, okay, these people got my back. They really did. So yes, the Friday films were a much better breeding ground for filmmakers to actually be filmmakers. And I will say, I treated Jason Goes to Hell more like a Nightmare film than a Friday film. I did.
It makes a lot of sense.
I want to go.
That's interesting with what Jed was saying about enjoying that franchise so much. That really ties in, and the difference between from film to film in terms of innovation. I was thinking about yourself, Jed, with host and dash cam and fan expectation as well. Do horror fans sometimes say they want innovation, but secretly, do they just want the same mask and machete? Do they just want the, what are they like? Or is it just a case of, it's a preference for certain people? I don't know.
I mean, after Host, because that was such like a universally loved movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it. But fantastic. That's what people want. That's what people wanted. They just wanted us to do Host again, and we were like, we don't want to do that. Right. So that's why we did Dashcam, which is, when it first released, it was very divisive because, it wasn't Host. It was a horror film that we tried to horrify people. We tried to give you an antagonist who's also the protagonist, and she says and she does awful things, and it puts you in the shoes of somebody who you normally wouldn't, because the horror audience in most cases very left-leaning kind of audience, and I feel like horror films now, they've become way too safe, and for me that's not horror. Horror should
totally agree with you.
It should surprise you. Agree. Yeah, Woo. It should horrify you. So that's the kind of horror that I want to see, and it should be. You shouldn't. There's a certain level of expectation. Okay, with like the franchise movie, especially, with the Freddy movie, you expect Freddy to, to be in your dreams, and then he gets pulled out of the dreams. You expect the one-liners. But what to me makes a horror film good is when it surprises you as well, and that's what we try to do with Dashcam. But it's funny when you were mentioning, Adam, the speaking to Sam about putting the Necronomicon in, because I've had the same, because I know Sam as well, and I was working during lockdown, same time we were doing Host. We were working on a film with Sam, and maybe that film will happen at some point.